Well, welcome everyone to Pet's Best Friend. Yes, my good friend Dr. Kathio is back. He's been doing great work, and we have a special guest for you. We'll tell you about this special guest who invented something that's extremely, it's going to be great for animals. But today is an interesting show about some of the things that the good doctor is doing. And for once again, for those who would like to get into contact with Dr. Kathio, it's 570-655-2412. And I'll mention that number throughout the show, and his website is very simple, kathio.com, Kathio.com. My good friend, how are you?
Thank you very much, Sam Lesante, and it's great that you give me time so we can do this show. Many people are getting benefit from this show, and I'm seeing some great cases or something that are coming down to my place in Pittston from Drums, from Hazelton, from Mountaintop, from all those things. But the other thing is that I'm also doing a great community service. I have done community service past month for a police officer and a girl that had a little puppy. She had no money, and the puppy got a concussion and a brain hemorrhage, so I had to bring her back to life. But we have a very interesting show today.
Well, and we have a special guest, okay, and a good doctor sitting next to you. But however, we're going to get to folks. You're going to be. This guy is great. He's going to be excited to hear what he's doing. Now, all right. So we got some film here, some tape of some of the animals you were working on. I think we're going to start off with with a duck, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the monitor and see what we're looking at here, folks. It's a duck.
This little baby bird is having a neurological problem, and just born. It's a duck, and they bring it down to us in this state. So what we do, because it's so small, cannot take too many of the medications, so we try to do something naturally, try to stimulate animals' appetite and see. And then we will start with some hydration and fluid therapy, and go from there. And you will be amazed that without putting too many drugs into the animals, if you can see their physiology, how they work.
There's medicine in the food that he's eating right now?
Right now, it's nutrients.
Nutrients,
okay. Vitamin, mineral-rich nutrients.
Right. Okay.
Now look at that. Just the nutrients getting into his body, he's starting to
respond very nicely.
Yeah. What he had a nutritional deficiency, and he's like a day old, or maybe two day old, and vitamin E deficiency, it causes the neurological problems in the birds. It is very important to know that what condition you might be dealing with. If you look at it, you might say there's like a trauma. You might say it's a virus.
Oh, he's moving around.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. You might say it's like a bacterial disease, but you got to know the birds, from the day one, to see what are the challenges on the day one.
Now, I guess with any animals, nutrients are so very important, right?
Very much important.
Yeah. But how would they know? Like I know when I give my dog, I give him omega-3, believe it or not, every day. And he has a vitamin thing. He takes a lot of different vitamins. For those people who, sometimes they go to these stores or pet stores and they see these vitamins, etc. What advice do you have from them that just instead of just buying stuff?
See, if you are giving the animal a good balanced food, and there's a little need for the vitamins, sometimes you can make your dog or animal toxic if you are giving him too much of the vitamins.
Bestly for you to see what they're giving and regulating that, right?
Correct.
All right. Now we have a dog. Okay. We have a dog here with a bone in his mouth. Yeah. Okay. And let's see what happened there.
See, this is the dog, and it was drooling. And examination of the open mouth we found out that he had a toy bone or jubal. You can see the bone is stuck, or sometimes people give them a pork bones or pork chop bones or something. And look at this.
Oh my God.
That was stuck in there.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, so we got that thing out from there. This is a pork chop bone.
That's a pretty nice sized bone, isn't it?
And look at this one. Sometimes you have a canned food in the refrigerator, and the dog goes and licks it, and they make them bleed. And they do not give them canned food, open the can and give it to them, because the margins on the rim, there is a very sharp edges when the dog licks it and it cuts right off.
They cut the tongue. Oh.
Yeah. Now looks like they said a respiratory disease, but if I do the radiograph, on the radiograph, look at this one, all bone is gone.
Oh, boy.
The bone is totally gone. The nasal discharge is secondary to neoplasia or the cancer that has this. That's a normal side. That is a normal side, and here is a place where the bone has been eaten up by the cancer.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So nasal discharge simply does not mean that they have a respiratory disease. Sometimes they have a foreign body, sometimes they have a fungal disease, sometimes they have a polyps, or sometimes they have a cancer. In this case, the nasal discharge was related to the cancer.
When we started the show many years ago, Doctor, we talked about informing people about, pets and how do you take care of your animals, and it's so important to make sure if you're buying an animal, whether it's for a pet, know what the animal is, what you have to do to maintain that animal, okay?
Right.
Because sometimes we'll buy a Bichon, or we'll buy a pit bull, we'll buy a cat, we'll buy a Chihuahua. You should really understand and read what care these animals need.
Yeah, before you buy an animal or before you buy anything, you should know that what are the requirements for that. It's not that you are going to go and buy a dog and bring him home and the novelty is over, you would take him back into the shelter, or you abuse the animal. Most of the abuse I see, it's a flea-ridden animals. There are like hundreds of fleas on animals, and people think that he's only scratching, but it's bothering this poor animal.
Folks, I'm talking to Dr. Kathio. His phone number is 655-2412. We come back, we have a lot more for you. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pet's Best Friend, folks. Dr. Kathio is in the house, and he's doing a great job as usual. Dr. Kathio does a lot of good throughout the world. He travels a lot of places, a lot of countries, at his own expense, folks, helping, educating people to take care of their animals. Today he's on the show, and you want to get in touch with Dr. Kathio at 655-2412. Area code 570. Go to his website, Kathio, Kathio.com. All right, now, good doctor. We now have a dog that has a skin tag on his eye, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
what happened here?
Sam, sometimes these small street tags, skin tags, or skin growths or skin tumors, if they are removed in the earlier stage, it is very easy on the animal, especially when they are located near the sensitive organs like a nose or the ear or by the eye. And you can see this little growth that is located at the dog's left eye. It's very close to the margin of the lower lid. And if this is not attended at this time, this dog was going to lose his eyelid. It would have ruptured, got infected, that got so big that the eye would have been destroyed. So while these small growths occur, it is better to get rid of them than just to leave him there. You can see we just did with the laser, and there was no hemorrhage, and it's very comfortable for the dog, and we did not even apply a suture material, even though the growth is very small, but it has the tendency to get big.
He's a good dog.
That is a Posey, that is a dog from Hazleton,
Yeah.
owned by a great person, Sam Lesante Jr.
Yes, yes.
And you can see he's happy
There
to
you-
go home.
Happy to go home, yeah. You do a lot of surgeries, don't you, doctor?
I do many surgeries,
And it's interesting because I know that sometimes people think they have to go to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, etc. If they only knew the intense surgeries that you do, and I've seen you perform some of them, some emergency ones, and as you know what I'm referring to, that poor dog was in that accident at that time, and boy, you were just a champ at it. You just amaze me. I have so much respect for you, that, and I think what you did for that animal was great. Now we have an unspayed dog, okay, folks?
Okay,
Remember,
before you say that,
yeah.
thank you very much for giving me the exposure. Another thing is that I do number of surgeries that not ordinary
Yes.
veterinarian might not do. Like I will bring you some cases next week where I performed the hip surgery, and the cat came from Drums Hazleton. And they wanted me to do the surgery. So, but again, there are some like modern procedures that require animals to go to some special facilities like Cornell University, which is the very best, and there is the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia as well.
Well, go to you first to see whether
Yes,
because
correct,
you will
correct.
never do anything that you cannot do if you.
Well, I do try. I do the bone plating. I do the bone pinning. I do the hip surgery, and I do the tumor removals. And I can give you the number, and this list will not finish.
See, I taught you well, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You did. Yes, you did.
We have a
Yeah.
dog here who is unspayed dog. Let's take a look at this dog. Okay, now that's what happens, folks.
That's what happens. What it is a necrotic or dead tissue or gangrenous tissue that's actually a vagina that's hanging out, and it has become so gangrenous that it smells very bad. And I performed the surgical procedure on this dog, and because this dog was not spayed, and there was too many hormones, and the hormones was bombarding on the reproductive tract, and the vagina got so big that couldn't fit anymore inside, so it just came right out, and it did not look pleasing to the eye. But after the surgery, 4 weeks later, the doggy back went.
And folks,
so get your animal spayed.
I'm just going to say, spay and neuter, please, folks. It just, you see what happens when you don't get them spayed. Now, Doc, before we go to your special guest, and I'm excited to hear from this gentleman, you do a lot of community service. Let's talk about that before we go for break and then bring him on.
Yeah, I do lots of community services and for the poor people, and sometimes the police brings this animal they have found, especially one of the
see it
cat.
right now.
You're looking at it. It was found under the bridge, sitting on the bridge wall. Brought it from the police, and I fixed that one at no charge to them, and the cat was able to go back, was adopted. This is another puppy, community help I was doing. This little girl had a puppy that fell, got the concussion, and was paralyzed. I performed the medical treatment, and the puppy is back to normal, and also had a hemorrhage in the eye and hemorrhage in the brain because puppy fell down from quite a significant height or something, and these people unfortunately did not financial constraints, but instead of paying me little by little, I told them I understand, I'm in the community, I had time, so I was able to do this community help and perform at no charge that service.
You're a good man, and we have another guest coming up, folks, that Dr. Kathio is training with. This is an interesting person because he has something he's developing has to do with the bone with these animals. His name is Dr. Ahmed Tunio. Very nice guy. I love the guy, folks. He's my height. I think he's fantastic. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pet's Best Friend, folks. Dr. Ahmed Kathio, located in Pittston, but you can get in touch with him at his phone number, 655-2412, area code 570, or go to kathio.com. He does a lot of great things. Now, Doctor, we have on the set today a good friend of yours and a person that you've been involved with. His name is Dr. Ahmed Tunio, okay? Why don't you take the show now and explain to our viewers who this good doctor is and the great things he's doing.
Okay, Dr. Ahmed Tunio is my student. I was teaching in Sindh Agriculture University, Tandojam, Pakistan. I noticed him. He was working very hard, so I took him under my wing and taught him many surgical procedures. And he took off so good that he is right now assistant professor in the University of Agriculture in Pakistan. And the Agriculture University has sent him to do PhD in Malaysia, and I am sponsoring his PhD and his expenses. So then he can be a person to contribute in the world. He has developed a demineralized bone matrix. When there is a fracture in the bone, whether it's an animal, or it's a human, it's a pigeon, or a dog, or cat, or anything, sometimes there is a non-union, delayed union, or malunion. That means the bones are not uniting. So Dr. Tunio has worked on a bone material to demineralize this, understand its protein, understand the communication of the osteoblast, or these are some of the cells, how they communicate with each other. So he is putting them in the right frequency. So those like malunion, delayed union, or any union, that the bones are not being united together. So now his experiment become very successful. He was there in Louisville, Kentucky. He presented his case before the American scientists, American veterinarians, avian veterinarians. He get many applauses, what kind of things he has done. And so he is a Dr. Tunio, and we will show you some of his work. We will show you some of his work on the thing. See, there's a bone that has been fractured, and there's a big gap in there. And we are fixing this bone. This is the intraoperative photograph. I'll show you the next slide. Now there is a demineralized bone material we are putting into the gap, and then we will suture up the skin. This is Dr. Tunio, this is not me. And we will stabilize this, this portion. Now you can see there are pins, and in between the 4 pin, in between the pins, you'd see there's a black dark area. You can see there's a gap. There's no union. It's quite far apart, and we put a bone in there, and let us see what happens. Now you can see that the gap has been already filling up with the new bone formation. Wow. So this type of work Dr. Tunio, my student, has done. This will also help human as well to obtain a tissue after the bone tissue on the bone material demineralizing and make a graft. And so all these malunion, non-union, delayed union, when the bone is not uniting together, to be able to unite. Now, Dr. Tunio will tell you something more about it.
How did you get involved with this, doctor?
Yes, we prepared this one bone graft material because of the fracture cases are so many in birds and animals. So therefore, they need some bone graft material to boost up the bone formation and clinical union faster than the S to compare without treatment. So this one is the fruitful and best one bone formation, gave good results by the combination of using these both two bone graft materials. DBM we prepared at the station.
Now we have another slide.
We have the last slide. One more slide.
What are we looking at here now?
This is the histological section showing that the bone has been the bone is the fractured bone has been replaced by the good bone.
Okay. And what is it? Is it a chemical, or what is it that you're putting in?
There is the two bone graft. One is the DBM tubular bone graft material. Yeah. We implanted in the gap, in the defect, in the fracture side. So and another we implanted, that is the hydroxyapatite powder form. When we implanted, we seen the good bone formation and good bone incorporation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so I would understand, if a dog fractures his whatever bone, leg or whatever, normally if you put it in a cast, doesn't it heal itself? Where would you come in with this particular stuff for the graft?
Very good question. Like normally, like the dog, they would heal their bone, without a graft.
Right.
But there are certain instances where the bone has been destroyed too much.
Okay.
There's a big gap, and there's bone loss, and the bone is not healing together, or healing, delayed healing. It's taking long time. It's not healing, or it's malunion or something. At that time, you will use that type of material to.
And what is this material made out of?
That material is made from, one is the natural from the animals, and another is a synthetic bone graft material, which has osteoinductive as well as osteoconductive bone graft
How did
property.
you come up with this? I mean, you had to be creative in your mind to come up with something like this.
Yeah, we studied literature that what is a new thing we have to do. So therefore we introduced this one. That is the very first time work in the bone grafting by combining these bone graft material.
That's fabulous, and it's good. The good doctor here, who I adopt him as my big brother, okay, has done so much good with relationships between Pakistan and the United States. Because sometimes you listen to the media and you get false impressions of the good people in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And I could just tell you from him coming on the show so many times and him going back and forth and doing all the good. And the great people of Pakistan, there may be a few like we have in the United States who are bad, but majority of them really work with the United States. And it's so nice to have you being tutored by my good buddy here to bring health for animals. It helps the entire world, right?
That will not only help the animals, it will help the people also. People will learn from this. Yeah.
And how is the good doctor treating you?
Yes, doctor is very helpful and friendly, giving the information about how to improve the veterinary profession and the surgical procedures.
You know what fascinates me?
Nice doctor.
Yeah, you know what fascinates me about my big brother here? He just blows my mind with the knowledge that he has and how he is able to handle every situation with whether it's a bird. I hate snakes, he knows that, but he takes care of snakes and fish, and you name you saw a duck, you name the animal. To have the knowledge that he has is just, we're blessed in northeastern Pennsylvania to have a veterinarian like Dr. Kathio.
Thank you very much, Sam Lesante, and we are very thankful to America, because America has big libraries in Pakistan in American centers, and Dr. Tunio and I fully benefited from that one. Yeah. So that's why we are excelling. And believe it or not, America is giving to the developing countries like me, I was like nothing, because of the American vaccination and American literature and all kind of American help, because I'm here sitting and talking to you. And I'm one of the person, and Dr. Tunio is also from the villages. You see the people that they have no clothes, standing out with no clothes. So we come from that poor family, and because of the American help in agriculture, in education, in health, and providing the literature for us to become educated, and we are the end results of that.
Well, you tell all my good friends in Pakistan, I think I'm popular through the story, but you tell them I send my best, and it's an honor to have you on the show, and you're working with a great guy, and I wish you the very best, Doctor.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
I am highly thankful to you.
Another thing is that Senator Casey is making the Pakistan-U.S. relationships even better, so they can even understand. So
terrific.
Very thankful to him.
Folks, Dr. Naya Kathio, Pittston Animal Hospital, 655-2412. Any questions you have, please give him a call. He'll respond to you. I know he's a busy, but believe me, if he can't talk to you, he'll get back to you. Okay, his website is kathio.com. Go there and you'll learn a lot more. Remember, you can watch this show anywhere in the world, 24/7 on ssptv.com. See you next time.